Hey guys, football is awesome. So much I call this new podcast, which is partner in speaking podcast feed. Football is awesome because it is awesome, and I'm actually having a great time watching this season. I've admitted already countless times on different podcasts and certainly on this show that this is easily so far 3 weeks in. It's gonna change in weeks to come, but this has been the most fun I've had in quite a while watching football. 3 weeks in, we don't know anything. We know what teams are bad and teams are good, and we'll obviously get the power rankings later on the show with Mike Squid about that. But it's been a fascinating year. So, as I said, I announced on the podcast on this feed a couple episodes back. Every Wednesday, we're dropping this long, hour-long ish episode of football content between the power rankings, between my cold open, my thoughts of the week, Burning 7. We'll have a rotating guest every week also too. People in media, maybe people who I'm friends with, whatever. And then of course Zach and I are going to do our picks, and then I now have my picks of the week as well too on the back end of the show. My picks of the week, which by the way I went 3-2 again for the third week in a row. So 9-6 for the year. By the way, I'm gonna learn one day to stop betting against Detroit, because every year I bet against Detroit. Every week I bet against Detroit, I've lost. Week 1 I bet San Francisco to cover Detroit. Detroit backdoors. I bet against Detroit this week. I bet Baltimore this week. minus 7.5, and they not backdoor, but actually almost won the game. So like I said, this is going to be a new weekly thing here on this feed. Subscribe, Earnestly Podcast on all podcast catchers, of course, as always. What else? Before I get to my Burning 7, before we bring in our first guest of the day, because it's going to be a fun thing here. Because football is awesome. It is awesome. Here's my Burning 7 so far. Some things on my mind coming out of week 3, because it has been such a fascinating season. And right now, in my opinion, Derek Carr, thought number 1, Derek Carr right now is probably the MVP. Now, you can make a case for Colin Murray, you can make a case for Matthew Stafford, obviously, but no one had the Raiders being 3-0 out the gate. And by the way, unlike the Broncos in the division, they've actually played teams. They've actually played some good teams. They beat Baltimore. They beat Pittsburgh, who's probably bad, but we don't know yet. Miami is probably bad, we don't know yet. But they beat some quality teams. At least quality teams that we think are still have a pulse right now through 3 weeks in the season. Derek Carr has been fantastic. I don't know what the hell John Gruden did with that offense. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, John Gruden is actually back to being the old John Gruden, at least for now. I've been very critical of John Gruden and that whole thing, that whole spiel. Signing him to a 10-year contract. Like what the fuck are they thinking? No, I don't get it. But Derek Carr right now might be the MVP of the entire league. We'll see. Obviously, you've got 4 weeks of play, so that's not be pushing the moment here that I always seem to be. At least was what Kyle Nash likes to accuse me of doing all the time. But whatever, Kyle. Number 2 on my mind, the Dallas Cowboys, man. Let's be real. They're 2-1, big win against the Eagles on Monday Night Football, 41-21. The Cowboys are much better than people think. Look, I am not saying the Cowboys are going to be as good as the Buccaneers or the Chiefs or those top teams in the league. I'm not saying that. But it's fun. Look, I think a lot of us, we use our Dallas Cowboys hate to cloud the judgment, to cloud what is real. Okay? It's fun hitting the Cowboys. We get it. I know that. I'm a Giants fan. I know how this works. But at the same time, let's acknowledge what they are. They are 2-1. Probably should be 3-0. Just should win that Bucs game. And they've also beat quality teams. They beat the Chargers right now, who are 2-1. Also beat the Super Bowl champions. And then Philadelphia, division rival. So, their offense obviously is great. There's no question their offense are going to be able to keep winning games. Dak Prescott's the top 10 quarterback in the league. Let's cut it out. The question is their defense, can they hold steady? They've been okay so far. We'll see what happens. They had a pick 6 last night in the game against Philadelphia. Let's see how that goes. But they're gonna be fine. Dallas is good. They're a good team. They're definitely better than people think they are. They are the class in now, low bar here, but they are the class in the NFC East, obviously. All right, number 3. Speaking of New York football stinks. Giants 0-3, Jets 0-3. Two of these teams, both of these teams are in my bottom 5 this week. We'll see. We'll find out in the power rankings in a second. But at least the Giants have somewhat of a pulse. It's still bad. I mean, they've lost the last two games by a last-second field goal to the Washington football team, and now to the terrible Atlanta Falcons. The Jets are bad. The Jets might be right now are probably the best candidate right now for 0-17 because they're not a good football team at all. They're just not. There's no pulse there. Their defense is actually okay, but because the offense is so bad, there's no way in hell they can win. They can stay in games. So both New York teams are pretty terrible. Number 4 on my mind. I think I'm at the point now where I'm finally having doubts about Tua Tagovailoa in Miami. Now, I ain't rooting for the kid. I hope he does well. I want him to be the starting quarterback. I want him to flourish there. The Dolphins are my second team. But, I will say the offense, the Dolphins offense with Jacoby Brissett under center looked a little more stable than with Tua. Now, granted, let's be real here. The Dolphins' offensive line is terrible right now. They're playing really bad football. That has to improve. You can't even assess any of these quarterbacks until you get that improved. But I do have some doubt on Tua now. I don't want to be this person. I want Tua to succeed. I'm rooting for the guy to do well. But there's some doubt there on Tua. So, number, was it 5 here? 5th thing on my mind. Do not worry about the Kansas City Chiefs, at least for now anyway. They're 1-2. Take a snapshot right now of the AFC West rather. Take a snapshot. Go on NFL.com. Go on whatever sites that post NFL standings. Obviously the Chiefs are in last place. They're 1-2. You got 3-0 Raiders, 3-0 Broncos, 2-1 Chargers. That won't hold, obviously. That's going to change in the weeks to come. Are there issues in Kansas City? Yeah, there are definitely issues in Kansas City. Can they overcome them? And will they overcome them? The odds are they will more than overcome them. I can see them being 8-2 by the time this whole thing's over. By the time we get to November or late October, they'll be 8-2, and we're not even talk about the 1-2 start again. So let's calm down on the Chiefs right now. 6th thing on my mind right now, burning 7. The Cleveland Browns, kind of under the radar. The 2-1. Remember, they're one of the teams that can challenge KC for the AFC title, go to the Super Bowl, all that. And that's still the case. But a lot of teams in the AFC are getting a little more shine than Cleveland right now. The Bills are hot all of a sudden again. Chargers, obviously the Broncos and Raiders being 3-0, that kind of thing. I get that. The Browns are kind of under the radar. That's good. And to me, that's a good thing. They don't need any more pressure. Baker Mayfield needs to thrive. And I think with less eyeballs on that franchise, we may forget that they were one of the favorites to come out of the AFC this year. Because no one's talking about it right now. And they're 2-1, they play good football. And they probably should be a 3-0 also, too. Probably should be in Kansas City week 1. So, just food for thought. If you're a Browns fan and you're not getting respect, don't be that guy. I want more eyeballs. No, you want less eyeballs. Be under the radar. Let's get the 1 seed without people knowing about it. That's all. Shh. Okay. Number 7, of course. We got to talk about it, of course. We spoke about it on the last episode of the podcast with Kyle and Jim back on Sunday. But we got to address this now. Big Ben Roethlisberger is done. He's just finished. It's over. And the problem is the Steelers, and I posted a clip on my YouTube page as well too. Where do they go? Because the Steelers are not bad enough to draft, get a draft pick to draft a quarterback of significance. So they might be in play for Jimmy Garoppolo. They might be in play for Cam Newton. They might be in play for Deshaun Watson if his situation clears up. But the Steelers are in trouble. They're in big trouble. Big Ben is just done. You look at those progressions. He looks like Week 16 Big Ben in Week 3. So he's this bad now. When the weather gets colder, I mean, this could get worse. This probably will get worse. Is there a chance they bench him this year? Is there a chance they go back to Mason Rudolph, who's not the answer? But is there a chance that maybe they try that one more time and see maybe Rudolph can turn things around and maybe revigorate their offense? I don't know. But Big Ben is done. He's just done. So there's my burning 7 for this week, week 4. So let's get to the rest of the show. Enjoy. All right, power rankings, week 4 here. Football's awesome. Mike's awesome. Squid, what's up, buddy?
What up, bud?
I love this season. It's been fun, isn't it?
It's been wide open, that's for sure.
I felt bad you were in Disney and you missed all the cool ass games.
Oh no, we didn't actually go to the parks till about 3-ish.
You modified it for the football, nice.
So I got to watch a little bit of the Bengal game. That's kind of where my main focus was, obviously. But of course, bouncing around from my fantasy teams, I got to see what was going on.
How'd you do this week?
We won in 3 leagues. We lost in 1.
I lost again this week.
So
fucking 2 points.
I have 2 teams that are 2-1, one that's 1-2, and one that's 3-0.
Oh, okay. So, like I said, I'll be doing power rankings now because football's awesome as always. This was actually harder. I actually fucked up because I actually left you credit before we were on the air. Credit to you on this one because I kept the team out of my top 10 because I modified this motherfucker like 5 or 6 times within the last 48 hours because I don't know where to go.
Facts.
And that's how good a year it's been this year.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing. So making us work for this stuff. So last week 10-1, and then we'll do the bottom 5 later because they deserve to go last. Number 10, who you got?
How about them Cowboys?
Hey, give him some love, man. Big win last night.
That was good. The offense finally looks like it's clicking. Ezekiel Elliott looks like he's actually running with some purpose. The offensive line did its job, gave Dak lanes, and the defense was all over Jalen. It hurts, don't it? But, I mean, he was awful last night. And I don't necessarily know that I'm ready to say that they're going to be a certified Super Bowl contender, but through week 4, their defense is clicking.
We got a lot of friends that are Cowboys fans, and they get a little ahead of themselves, but I'll give them credit here. They probably could be 3-0 right now. I mean, that Tampa game.
It should be 3-0.
Yeah, that Tampa game was definitely
that was on the table for them. They had like 3 or 4 takeaways in that game, and they still found a way to lose that game. So that's why that game was severely theirs on the table. And honestly, if Tampa's going to look as pedestrian as they looked against the Rams, I mean, you may not get Tom Brady in the NFC title game this year.
Mm-hmm. Number 10 for me, I got the Green Bay Packers.
I could have seen them being in my rankings. They're not in my rankings, spoiler alert. I could have seen them being in my rankings, but it literally took piss poor clock management from Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's true.
And Kyle Shanahan for them not to be 1-2.
That's true. And I probably I mean, you can make a case of putting Carolina in there, maybe in Denver in there. Ultimately, I probably should have said number 10 is Aaron Rodgers. You know, so number 10 is Aaron Rodgers. There you go.
Makes sense.
Number 9, you got?
I will take the other team from Los Angeles. I will take Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Big win. I got him number 9 as well, too. Excellent. You know, obviously, a big what the fuck moment late in that game when they scored a touchdown.
What the fuck?
You leaving Mahomes that much time to get back down the field? Like,
they almost Aaron Rodgers themselves.
Yeah. All right. Let's go number 8. Number 8, what do you got?
I'll take the resurgence of one Theodore J. Bridgewater and the Denver Broncos.
I'm so happy for that guy. I really am. I mean, granted, you played combined 0-9, but the thing is, again, we said last week in the podcast, they're winning the game supposed to, but in the fashion supposed to. So power rankings may not be don't mean shit to anybody.
Oh, do I think that Teddy Bridgewater is making the playoffs? Hell no. Do I think Teddy Bridgewater's 3-0 and is that a resurgent? Yeah, that's why they're the number 8 team in this ranking.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I'm happy for those boys. Number 8, I'm going to do it. The Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys. I'd say it again. I think they are better than people think they are. And last time's another example of that.
I would definitely say they are the class of the NFC Eastern Division.
That's not saying much, though.
I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't get hurt. We could be in for something, but Washington looked really bad against Buffalo.
Yeah. Number 7, who do you got?
I'll take the Baltimore Ravens.
You probably should have said Justin Tucker. I mean, seriously. I mean, that dude. I mean,
I could have said the officials that didn't call the play that cost them the game, but whatever.
I had to knock my top 10 because that was a bad performance. I mean, I was allowed to drop my hot ground.
Performance, but again, it's one of those games where it doesn't have to look pretty. Getting out of there with a win is more important than style points in some games.
No, I agree. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, that was a game. Yeah, their offense looked anemic at points. But Lamar Jackson was able to get them down the field, And coming off the game, you got to remember they were on a high from that game against Kansas City the week before.
Yeah.
This was let down. If you were looking at a college football game, like this would have been like circle this one because they're coming off playing a ranked team on the road.
Yeah.
You know, this is letdown game USA right here.
Good point. That's actually a really good point. Number 7 had the Buffalo Bills.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
And they probably should be higher because they've been dominant the last 2 games. But let's see this thing build up a little more. But they look like they were back in 2024.
I have them at number 6, so I have them one spot up from you.
Ah, so hanging around.
Yeah, Josh Allen seems to be getting himself back under control, which, you know, anytime that guy can just literally run around and be like, hey, look, that guy's open. Yeah. I mean, I would do it.
Number 6 for me, I have the team I forgot to put on my list after the 6th time I did my final list. Of course, the Arizona Cardinals. You know, it is what it is. I mean, that game against Jacksonville got kind of weird, you know, until the 4th quarter. And then, you know, Sunshine did Sunshine things.
Yeah, that's what he does.
You know, Urban Meyer suffering down there, I guess, huh?
Yeah, he might have a health condition and go coach USC before the year.
Sense it by November. We're at number 6?
5.
Number 5, what you got?
Number 5 is feeling dangerous. Give me the Cleveland Browns.
I like it because I'm also Cleveland Browns number 5. Kind of weird. So 3 weeks in, kind of weird. They're kind of under the radar a little bit now.
They're the weirdest team in the top 10, I think.
You know why? Because they're winning their games. They're not flashy right now, which is kind of strange. Having an Odell Beckham on your team, but they're actually kind of under the radar a little bit now. Like no one's really talking about it right now.
They blew the game against Kansas City.
Right. And how they won that game?
If they win that game and they're 3-0, like yeah, they're probably like a top 3 team. And Kansas City's like 37th.
Yeah, exactly. But the Browns are kind of on the radar, and that's kind of a good thing, I guess, right now. You want less pressure.
Yeah, I think I would just be more than content with kind of just doing my job and bringing my lunch pail and hard hat and getting out of there with victories and keep struggling.
Amen to that. Number 4, what do you got?
Go Vegas, go. Give me the Raiders.
I almost want to pull it off.
It did. But, again, they're another team. Derek Carr, resurgent year, probably second in the MVP race right now through 3 weeks.
Second.
What?
Who's number 1?
We'll talk about him in a minute.
Ooh, okay.
That guy is chucking the ball all over the place. And he's doing it with, like, Henry Ruggs III, Hunter Renfrow, and Aaron Waller. Like,
that guy. Who that guy?
Here, give that guy Josh Gordon, like a solid number 1 receiver that isn't fucking screw loose in the head.
Uh-huh.
And you're damn, this guy can be throwing the ball at anyone. If he's getting those yards with, like, and Ruggs the third is his number 1 wide receiver, like, man, put that guy somewhere else to see what he can do.
Number 4 for being is that same division. Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not going to penalize them yet. I will say, though, you, Mike, also, too, take a snapshot, NFC West right now. They're last place right now.
They're one Cleveland Browns meltdown away from being 0-3.
I know.
Stop making excuses for that organization.
But I'm
good.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Fast.
Right. I'm going to be honest with you, though. This is also projecting going forward that they'll have wins. So
Sure. But they also need to start running the ball because you draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire to be a running back, and the guy has been mediocre at best.
But end of October, they'll probably like what, fucking 7-8-2. Like what start? 1-2 start.
Yeah, they'll reel off 5 in a row.
Yeah. All right, number 3.
Give me Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals.
You're big on these guys, boy.
I love them. That offense is explosive.
They're fun to watch.
They are. Chuck and duck, boys, because that's coming. Guy's 5'4", and he's throwing it like he's 6'6".
Yeah. 3 for me is the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm surprised I moved them up, honestly. Because that was a good win against Miami, but
I think you moved up because Kansas City lost.
Yeah, and honestly, I know if I put Chiefs on Raiders, like I'll get like a lot of shit from people on social media.
100%. You deserve.
Yeah, play result a little bit too. But Derek Carr might be MVP right now. Might be.
He's in the discussion. There's one person I'm taking ahead of him right now.
I think you're going to.
Right.
Mike, I asked last week, who's number 2 work for?
Who does number 2 work for? And that's Tom Brady. Yeah, the 1 versus 2 in my power rankings this week. One loss. They're not moving far.
Yeah. I got number 2 also. Bucks.
Big question here, though, is that offense sustainable?
They got a lot of weapons.
They do. But Ronald Jones III has been basically AWOL since week 1. Leonard Fournette was a pedestrian half that game because they were down. Giovanni Bernard, former Bengal, who they, was on the field a lot, catching passes. Then he gets dinged up. I mean, Theo Brown is a question mark every week. Because 1 week he might be there, the next week he may have done cocaine off of strippers' asses in Tampa. Who the fuck knows? Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are the guys that they're there. But then Gronk gets dinged up in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So is this offense long-term sustainable? I think that's the bigger question here.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense. I mean, they ran into a fucking juggernaut offense. I mean, their defense lost one of their starting cornerbacks 17 minutes into week 1.
Richard Sherman's talking to them right now.
It wouldn't hurt.
Right. Well, Tom Brady drinks vampire blood, so it'll be fun.
He'll find a way to right the ship because I mean, Carolina's 3-0. No one's picking Carolina over Tampa Bay through fucking 3 weeks to win the division.
That's right. Exactly. We got 4 weeks ago. Yeah, they got a lot of time left. Yeah. All right, number 1, of course, easy. Who you got?
Give me the MVP frontrunner Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams.
I also have them at number 1. And I'm gonna go ahead and sit on a fucking soapbox right now. Who's the guy who's been on the Stafford bandwagon for fucking over a decade now? This guy. You can ask all our coworkers. You got everybody.
Detroit Lions, if they would fucking have sold to somebody else.
Yes, all the. I did a segment on this like 2 years ago on this podcast. A cold open on Matthew Stafford because there was somebody. It was a couple of guys we work with them saying he's not a top 16 quarterback in the league. I got like, really? Don't just say it, prove it. And I actually did the entire segment going down the list of quarterbacks that he's better than, and he made top 16.
I feel like a lot of people at our establishment of work that say things, and then whenever you ask them to prove it, they look at you like the deer in the headlights. Like,
yeah, put it in writing.
You literally just said that there are 15 quarterbacks better than him. Prove it.
Put it in writing. Prove it. Don't say it. Be it.
No, Matt Stafford, even when he was in Detroit, the problem was never Matt Stafford in Detroit.
Right.
Matt Stafford fucking went through injuries, terrible offensive lines, no weapons, no running backs, no defense, and was still putting up fucking great numbers.
Right.
He's putting up great numbers because that team has been god-awful.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, now he's on a team that has a great defense built around him. He has probably the most weapons he's ever had as a quarterback with Cooper and Robert Woods and, the running backs out of the backfield, Higbee at tight end. I mean, Higbee's probably the best tight end he's ever thrown to in the 10-plus years he's been a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper Kupp is literally his security blanket, something he never had in Detroit.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Okay,
if there's someone that's going to take MVP votes from Matt Stafford, it's Cooper Kupp.
That's true. That's a good point. Okay, before we get out of here, let's depress ourselves real quick with the bottom 5, of course. Let's go 28 first. 28, who do you got?
The Detroit Lions.
28 got the Indianapolis Colts. 29?
The Atlanta Falcons.
29, Detroit Lions. 30?
JETS, suck.
That high, huh? Got the Giants at 30. Oh, wait. 31, who you got?
Sunshine
2. Jaguars. 32, the Giants?
Yep.
That's the dig at me, actually. That's the dig at me.
I mean, you lose to that anemic-ass fucking Atlanta fucking offense? What's wrong with you?
No, they're pretty fucking bad. The only thing I will say, the only reason I have them that high at 30 is because they lost the last 2 games by a fucking field goal. Last second field goal.
0-3 is 0-3, bud.
0-3 is 0-3.
Awful.
Anyway, fellas, follow Mike, of course. They call him Bird on Twitter. Of course, he's also 1/3 of the fantastic wrestling podcast that I host alongside these 2 gentlemen, him and Joe. Take 3 Wrestling. It's draft week.
It is.
Are you doing a list for us?
Yeah, I'm starting it today.
I only asked because Big Jim asked.
Well, what I'm going to do also, and I'll text you off air.
All right, so, yeah. That's the other business, not related to football. Football is awesome. I think it's awesome, too. So, yeah, cool. Okay, on the line with us, old friend of the podcast, so all 10 years of the show, not just a member of the media, also a good friend as well. I'm glad I call him a friend. Antwan V. Staley. Antwan Staley on Twitter. Twan, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
I can't call it, man. What's going on with you, man?
Nothing much, just staying busy.
I'm keeping track of your Red Sox right now, and right now they got a lot of playoff stuff going on in baseball last week of the season. So,
Yeah, it's definitely not good.
I know, man. Dude. That's the one team, because I hate the Yankees so much. That's why I don't mind the Sox getting the playoffs. I hate the Yankees, so that's the one team I'll root for in that area because of my personal hate of the Yankees. Because I'm a Mets fan, of course. So.
Yeah, they seem like they're probably going to get into the playoffs right now, although they are losing to Toronto at the moment. So
right.
It's going to be an interesting week with the wild card. You got 3 teams vying for 2 spots.
Yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk football, though. So we're not trying to depress you, because I think I'll be honest. I don't know how you feel, but this is the first season in a very long time, probably a couple of years, where I actually felt really excited about going into the year. And through 3 weeks, I feel like my cup is runneth over, and then some. This has been a fantastic year.
Yeah, I think it's been fun. I mean, I think right now with the NFL, especially the first 3 weeks, it seems like anybody can win it. You have a lot of parity. I know a lot of people talked about Kansas City being the favorite in the hoist the trophy, but they're in last place at the moment. Now, obviously, I don't imagine that's going to continue, but I think they're going to be in a dogfight in that division. I mean, you got the Chargers; they've improved. The Broncos, we'll see what the Broncos are. I know they're 3-0, but they really hadn't played anybody. And then you got the Raiders, who are 3-0. They beaten 3 teams they finished with 10 wins last year. So, yeah, I mean, Kansas City's going to have their hands full. And then you got Tampa, and then, they look good, but then I'm losing to the Rams on Sunday. And the Rams are, I think a lot of people are pointing to them and saying they might be potential favorites in the NFC to come out of there. So it's definitely fun times for sure right now.
So back to the Chiefs real quick, though. Do you think they're in trouble? Like right now, you do a snapshot. I told folks early in the week after, Sunday, look, take a picture of AFC West right now, because this may not hold up. I mean, you may not see this in another month. The Chiefs are in last place in the AFC West. Do you think they're in trouble based on what you're seeing right now? Do you think they'll turn things around? Where are you at?
I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're probably still going to win the division too, but they're not invincible. I think Tampa Bay really cracked the code on them from the standpoint that the way to slow down their offense is, I mean, a lot of their offense goes through obviously Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. If you can kind of contain that, you can kind of enforce Mahomes to make some bad decisions, which the Chargers did. I know it's easier said than done, but yeah, you can beat this team. And then not only that, their defense isn't good, like as good as they were last year. I think that's really, makes them really vulnerable to teams like the Chargers and also the Raiders, who can also put up points too. I'm not saying I think Kansas City's going to win the division, but it's going to be, you may have a scenario where you get 3 teams out of the AFC West make the playoffs, because I think it's going to be that good, and I think it's going to be tighter than what a lot of people think.
Right. Monday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles by 20. Cowboys are 2-1, probably 3-0. If you look at the situation in the first game against Tampa, they were in that lead. They had to lead late. I say all the time, a lot of people like to make fun of the Cowboys. It's fun to do that. The Cowboys, America's team, we make fun of them. But I got to be honest with you. I think they are better than people give credit for.
Yeah, I think so. I thought they were the best team coming in the year in the division by far.
I ain't saying much, though.
I think a lot of people looked at Washington and, kind of what they had come, and people were talking about Fitzpatrick is going to make a big difference, which I thought that was crazy to me. I know he's injured right now, but we're talking about a person that's never made the playoffs in his entire career and been a journeyman. It's no disrespect to him, but I'm just kind of calling it what it is. But I think the disappointing thing about Washington is their defense is not good, and then a lot of people pointed to that was the reason they were going to win the division, but yeah, that's definitely not the case so far. I mean, they look terrible against the Bills and even against the Giants. The game they ended up winning. I mean, they still didn't look particularly good. So, yeah, I think Dallas by far, especially considering the quarterback situation in Washington, and the Eagles have their struggles on both sides of the ball, and the Giants have a ton of problems. I thought they're even worse than I thought they would be. I think Dallas is definitely by far the favorite in that division.
Right. Speaking of quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger. I did a segment with our good friend Cal Nash and Big Jim, James Neese, on my last podcast back on Monday, and look, He's a Hall of Famer. He's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's all-time great. But, he looks like Week 15 Ben Roethlisberger in Week 3. That's a bad sign. I'm not one to always to panic and stuff, but Big Ben looks done. Like he looks like he could be benched by the end of by the middle of this year.
Yeah, he kind of hit that wall. Something like that happened to Peyton too. It's just the fact that the Broncos had such a great defense, they were able to overcome, Peyton Manning's decline throughout that year. The year they won the Super Bowl. The Steelers have a good defense. They don't have an elite defense like the Broncos did, so they're not able to overcome that. And then I think the league is different, where you're gonna have to score points in order to beat a lot of these high power offenses too. So they're in a real pickle because they got Najee Harris, who I think can run the football, but you're gonna have to throw the ball. And then it's just it started last year really. They got up to that terrific start, 11-0, and then end up hitting that wall. And Ben, he did throw 30 touchdowns, but he just didn't look like the same quarterback that he did early on in the season, and that's really carried on. I know he lost some weight and everything like that, but at age 39, he definitely does not look the same player that he was even last year to this point.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. Also, the Steelers they're not bad enough to draft high, and that's the problem. Mason Rudolph isn't the answer. We know that already. So what's your next move? I was suggesting, on that same episode, 2 days ago, do you go after Deshaun Watson? Do you go after Jimmy Garoppolo? Do you maybe even, put a feeler off of Cam Newton? Some of that nature. What is the play for the Steelers moving forward? If Big Ben is done, but the Steelers are still mediocre to where they can't get a top tier quarterback in the draft, what's the next move?
Well, not now. I think if they keep losing, they might be the worst team in that division, and it's weird to say, especially considering how solid the Steelers have been throughout the course of these years, and the way they're going and the way they can't score offense. Their move might be just to draft somebody in an upcoming draft. Maybe they can go out and get Cam Newton. Obviously, Dwayne Haskins is on the roster, but I don't think that's the answer either. Yeah. But I would say if Cam Newton was vaccinated, I think that might be a possible move. But he's not vaccinated, so I don't think teams are gonna be eager to bring him in either. Especially considering he's probably gonna start as a backup while you're learning the offense. So they're in a weird situation where they don't necessarily. They tried to draft Mason Rudolph. They obviously that hadn't worked out, and they just don't have a real heir apparent in place, and they may have to just stay with Ben or maybe go to Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins and see what they have. But I don't know what they're gonna do, to be honest with you.
Once again, we're joined by Antwan Staley, all on Twitter at Antwan Staley. He's covers the Carolina Panthers for the Right Report, as well as college football for Antwan Sports. You used to cover the Dolphins years back, so you have a little more. You have a little bit of insight in the Dolphins, what goes on there. Look, I'm rooting for Tua. I hope Tua does well, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't want to jump the gun here, but I looked at the team, the Dolphins, for the first two games versus, Week 3 against the Raiders. And I'm not saying that, I just think that based on just the one-game sample, that this team somehow responded to Jacoby Brissett much better than they did to Tua. Now, granted, I acknowledge that the offensive line it's been pretty crappy the first 3 games of the year, but it seems like right now through 3 games that if you told me right now, and I'm rooting for Tua, I want Tua to be the starter. I want to see us through. If you told me who gives you the best chance right now to win for this team right now through 3 games, I gotta be honest with you. I think it's Jacoby Brissett. What do you think?
I don't know. I like Brissett though. I don't know. I think they're in a real pickle because they're kind of the problem with the quarterback situation. It's kind of their fault because they clearly want Deshaun Watson. I know that Deshaun Watson wants to go to Miami and. They just want to try to make it work, but they just don't want to give up the compensation in order to do it. I think they committed. They were committed to Tua, and I think they still are at least to the end of the year. And all bets are all potentially off. But the heat is already on. Like if you go through my timeline, people are upset.
Oh, I know.
They
I do visit once in a while.
Man,
They get emotional about this stuff.
They're 1-2. Like this, the season's not by far not over, but they want results, especially coming after last year where you overachieved and finished with 10 wins. I think people thought the natural progression would be to make the playoffs this year. You barely beat New England. You need at the end in order to do that.
Right.
You won by a point. You get railroaded by the Bills, and then you end up losing a heartbreaker to the Raiders, a game that you were up 14-0 in. So, yeah, they have to win this game against the Colts. So I think things are going to start to get really unravel for this team. And they're only a point and a half favorite in that game, too, against the Colts, and they're playing at home because you got Tampa next week. So if they lose this, and then they're probably going to lose against Tampa, and you're 1-4 heading into Jacksonville.
And that is 1-4. You're 1-4.
I think, yeah. I think Tua can potentially be the guy, but I think the Dolphins don't necessarily want to wait. They feel like they can contend right now, and I think the best way to do that is probably to go out and get a Deshaun Watson.
And that is 1-4. You're 1-4 in that conference. The AFC is really, really good right now. Like, really good. Like, this thing goes like 11 deep playoff contenders.
And you're light years away from, I know they're only a game back of the Bills, but we saw they're not even close to where Buffalo is.
That's
from
clear.
A talent standpoint.
That's very clear. Before I let you go, let's play a little game of Contender Pretender, shall we? Bring some music real quick. I'm going to list you about 10 teams quickly, and you tell me if they are playoff contenders or pretenders. You ready to go?
Okay.
All right, here we go. The 3-0 Denver Broncos. Contenders or pretenders?
Pretender as of now.
Do you think, okay, so obviously they beat three of the worst, let's rephrase that. They beat the three worst teams in football. So far.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
But I gotta be honest with you, they also won those games the way you're supposed to. So gotta give them credit there.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely do. I mean, they did exactly what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, next team here, your Las Vegas Raiders. Contender or pretender?
I think they're a contender because I think they're playoff contenders because not only their offense is legit, but I think their defense has gotten better. But I still like the Chiefs to win the division, but I think the Raiders can get one of the wild card spots.
All right. And that sounds like a homer because you are a Raiders fan. Okay, here we go. The San Francisco 49ers, 2-1. Contender or pretender?
I'm going to say a pretender. Jimmy Garoppolo, I kind of saw some good and bad with him against the game against Green Bay. I think they could make the playoffs, but that division is so loaded, and I think Seattle, despite 1-2, I think they're going to make the playoffs somehow. So somebody's going to be the odd man out.
Right. All right, here we go. The 1-2 Seattle Seahawks, led by Russell Wilson. Rough start to the year. Contender or pretender?
Well, I guess I just answer that, but yeah, I still think they're going to be a contender. Yeah, okay. I know they lost a tough game against the Vikings, and they also lost the game that could have been either way against the Titans. So they easily could be 2-1. So, but yeah, I still think they're a playoff team. But the Rams are the class of that division.
This team is interesting here for me. They won the first game against these same Seahawks. That is the Minnesota Vikings. Contender or pretender?
I'm going to say pretender at the moment, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were to find their way in the playoffs. But yeah, they got a lot of issues, especially defensively. I'm just not sold on that team. But I do like Kirk Cousins. I think he gets a bad rap, but defensively they just got to be able to make more consistent stops. And
I will say too, also they could be easy 3-0 right now. I mean, their first two losses were heartbreakers. Yeah. So just saying. Here we go. The Washington football team, contender or pretender? Pretender.
Their defense is just awful.
What the hell happened?
You got a situation with a quarterback, so yeah, that's not a playoff team by any means.
No, that defense fell back bad. All right, somewhat a while ago. The Miami Dolphins, contender or pretender?
I still think pretender. Although I think they could still win 9, possibly 10 games because they have such a easy road as far as the schedule, but. Yeah, I think they have some issues that they're not going to be able to overcome, particularly that offensive line.
Right. All right, their division mate here, the New England Patriots, 1-2 as well. Contender or pretender?
Look, pretender. They got some. Anytime you start a young quarterback, I do like Matt Jones, but they got some problems defensively too, and also with the offensive line. You kind of saw the Saints game as well. So yeah, I think the AFC East is only going to get one team in the playoffs, and that seems like it's going to be the Bills. All
right, two more teams here. The New Orleans Saints, weird team. You've seen two different types of teams here. 2-1 though. James Winston, Contender, the Saints.
I'm going to say for Contender. I think they can make the playoffs. I'm not necessarily. I know Carolina beat them in week 2, but I'm still not sold on the Panthers as of yet. But yeah, I think the Saints could definitely make the playoffs.
Right. And finally, this team surprisingly 2-1, with a big win in Pittsburgh this weekend. That is the Cincinnati Bengals. Contender or pretender?
I'm going to say Pretender, although they got a good chance to go 3-1. They got Jacksonville on Thursday night, so
that's right.
I mean, they could definitely start to set themselves apart and be one of the surprise teams. But I do like their offense and Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon, and also Jamar Chase has done a really good job so far. But I'll say Pretender until proven otherwise.
Once again, follow my boy Antwan Staley on Twitter at Antwan Staley. Again, he covers the Carolina Panthers for the R Riot Report as well as Athlon Sports. The Riot Report. Am I saying the R Riot Report? It's the Riot Report. What the hell am I talking about?
Yeah.
I'm just reading off your Twitter bylines.
yeah.
Twan, I miss you, brother. We'll hope you come on the podcast soon again. Okay.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right, brother. Take it easy. All right.
You take care. Man.
All right, brother. Take it easy. Bye. Okay, it's week 4 with the Degenerate, Degenerate. Zach, what's up, buddy?
Just losing money. It's all you can do when you're a degenerate.
You didn't only just lose money, you also lost to me this week, so now we're even. I won week 3.
Know. It's one thing to pay your bookie. It's a whole other thing to have to acknowledge that you beat me.
You'll get over it. It's okay. You'll get over it.
I will. I'll make another drink. I'll be over it tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, it did come down to the Monday night game. Like, we were even, and I picked Dallas to cover. You picked Philadelphia to win outright, and obviously I was correct on that. That's what it came down to, really.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanted to go over, but I don't even. I mean, it would have gave us a tie, but we need to have a few different picks. And so every once in a while, I have to go against you, even when I know you're right.
Well, this week might be the week it happens because again, Vegas is adjusting accordingly.
Well, this week I'm not going to give you any chances. I have to stay ahead of you so that it comes down to the last week.
So week 1, we're even. Week 2, you won. Week 3 is me. So obviously we're even now. So week 4 will be the rubber game so far. Like I said,
it'll be me.
I'm looking at the schedule, and I think you and I might be on opposite pages here of how we're going to go. So let's go first to the first game. Obviously I use Bovada. That's what I'm doing all my gambling too for now. Thursday night game. The Jacksonville Jaguars head to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. The Bengals are 7.5-point favorites. The over/under 45.5. 3 weeks ago when I said this game is trash, I'm kind of intrigued because the Bengals are actually pretty decent right now.
Okay, here's all you have to know. Jacksonville has one of the 5 worst defenses and one of the 5 worst offenses. Just take Cincinnati, make your money. That's all you have to do. If you're short $200 on your rent, just bet $200 on Cincinnati. You'll get your money. Don't worry.
You're gonna get folks broken shit. I
didn't say bet a mortgage. I lose on bet a mortgage. I didn't say bet rent. I win on rent.
Okay, so I really want to take 7.5 points Cincinnati, but this game, this is one of those games where the Jaguars, can they backdoor late, or you saw last week the Jaguars almost covered against Arizona. I'm taking the under to be safe. I'm taking the under.
Under 46.
45.5, but
when you have a team who cannot score at all in Jacksonville, they're like, second or third lowest in scoring, third or fourth highest in points allowed?
Yeah.
And you're going to say, hey, you know what? Give me the under. Thank you for giving me a win. I need a win to start my week off.
So you go to Bengals to cover?
Absolutely.
Okay. I told you, man. I told you this was going to be a different week. I told you that. Okay, let's go to Sunday.
I told you the rule. Bet against Jacksonville until they prove otherwise.
All right. Sunday games. Here we go. Your team, the Washington football team, heading to Atlanta to face the Falcons. The football team is actually 1.5 point favorites on the road. Over under 47.5. Oof.
Oh, I'm going to take Washington. I'm sorry. I've seen how bad Atlanta's defense is. And while I know Washington has zero fucking offense, it's still better than nothing when it comes to Atlanta. So I'll take Washington.
Well, you got to figure they're going to try to bounce back after that embarrassing loss in Buffalo last week. I mean, that's kind of like the thing.
God,
that was horrible.
So
Oof. But I'm going to take the over here. I can see a lot of scoring happening here. I can see a lot of scoring in this game because Atlanta's defense is trash.
Now, are you taking the over simply because you've lost 3 weeks in a row on taking Atlanta?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
I just want to know. I wanted to know your thought process.
Okay. So you got Washington. I got the over. Okay. Next game here we have the Houston Texans heading to Buffalo to face the Buffalo Bills. Check this spread out. The Bills are 16-point favorites. Over under 47.5. Guess what? Buffalo covers.
I agree with you, but I'll take the under because Houston has a defense that I did not believe they had. So I figure 35-7.
Okay. Next one, Detroit Lions head to Chicago, face the Bears. The Bears are 3-point favorites. Over under 42.5. Detroit's 0-3, but they've been competitive.
Absolutely. I mean, when every week you have to worry about a backdoor on Detroit's game when they're playing a good team, and now you get to play Chicago, who literally is the worst team in all of the NFL on offense. And when I say that with emphasis. The worst team, and it's by a touchdown. So, yes, please give me Detroit. I would put my mortgage on Detroit this week.
I thought about it, to be honest with you. But I'm going to go over here, a slight over on 42.5.
Chicken.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. All right, next one here. The unbeaten Carolina Panthers heading to Dallas to face the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 5-point favorites. The over-under is 50.5. So where are you on Carolina? You believe in this team?
You know, I had no faith in this team going into the season. I mean, I had a slight belief that Sam Darnold would be better. But I did not expect a 3-0 start. Not at all. And then when I see how good their defense is doing, and yes, I understand they've played nothing but patsies, you're giving up less than 200 yards on offense. And yes, Dallas is an offensive powerhouse. And so I'm going to take the under on points scored. Dallas has a decent offense, seeing as they've played against 3 potent offenses. And now you're going against Carolina, who has a potent defense. Give me the under.
I can see Dallas looking ahead in this game. I can see that. So I'm going to take Carolina points. Like, I don't think they'll win, but I can see a 21-17 game here.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but I'm 2 chicken. So at 21-17, that'll work out beautifully for me.
All right, next game here we have the Indianapolis Colts, winless, 0-3, heading to Miami, face the Dolphins, who 1-2. The Dolphins right now are 1.5-point favorites. The over/under is 43 points. This feels like the lose town game. Like, if who loses this game, they're done for the year, playoff-wise, because there's no way, given what we see in the AFC right now, teams that we thought would not be in the picture are in the picture, and there's too many competitive teams right now on top of the AFC. This feels like lose town.
Well, yeah, if Indianapolis found some way to lose this game, then yeah, both teams are going to be out of the playoffs.
Right.
But for me, this is literally the best bet of the week. Just bet Indianapolis.
Wow.
Because they should be the favorite on the road. It is crazy to look at this line and go, wait, depending on what side I'm on, I could get points for Indy? Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Give me all my money on the Colts.
It's funny because, like, I don't know if you saw last week when the line opened for the Raiders-Dolphins game, Miami was a 4-point dog. The minute that Tua was announced that he was out for the game, the money shifted in Miami's favor because of Brissett. I'm wondering if it's the same thing.
See, that makes no sense because other than when Brissett was in New England, he has never won as a quarterback.
But I gotta be honest with you, though, through 3 games, you know, you and I both were to do well, but through 3 games, that offense looks a lot more somewhat palatable with Brissett as opposed to Tua. Now, granted, that O-line's trash, so, you know, it's not, we can't really fully assess it, but at least with Brissett, they feel a little more organized, if you will.
Yeah, I would rather say it was a quick start on a Las Vegas team. That's all I would go with.
I'm taking the over in this game, just to be safe, because I don't know. Like I said, lose town. These are going to be 2 desperate teams this Sunday, so we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm glad I get the win. Thank you.
Next game here. This is a very intriguing game here. The Cleveland Browns heading to Minnesota to face the Vikings. The Browns, 1.5-point favorites. Over-under, 51.5. This is a toughie.
It is, because you're instinctively wanting to go with Cleveland because you know what Cleveland has.
Yeah.
But then you look at the fact that Minnesota has basically been in every game coming down to a final score, and you're like, well, it comes down to whether or not, you know, the running back's healthy enough to play.
Dalvin Cook.
And so when you do something like that and you have to decide between teams, I feel like you have to go with over-under, and I'll take the over. Minnesota, Vegas, they love to score points. Give me the over.
I got to be honest with you. The Browns kind of feel under the radar a little bit now because for the last couple of weeks we're talking about KC slumping a little bit. You know, everyone's talking about the Panthers. Everyone's talking about the Broncos and Raiders and the Chargers. And I mean, we know the Browns are good. We know that. But it just kind of feels like they're kind of under the radar a little bit. And that's a good thing, to be honest with you.
Oh, absolutely. It's always a good thing when you can go under the radar. But when only one team gets a first-round bye now, I don't know how good a thing it is to be under the radar. I almost want to believe it's better to be chased than to slide under the radar.
I'm going to take Cleveland's game. And that's because I not know if Cook's playing or not.
Hey, I can't fault you on that one. It's a brave pick. I like the pick. I just don't have the balls for it.
The Browns feel like a grown-up team now.
They are. With that defense, oh my God. And that running game, it doesn't matter whether it's Kareem Hunt or Chubb. You know they're getting 5 yards at a minimum when they get the ball.
Right. Okay, next game here, we have my New York Football Giants, 0-3, heading to New Orleans, face the Saints. The Saints are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under is 43 points. The Giants never win in the Superdome. It's quite obvious. The Giants suck. Give me the Saints to win and cover. Let's go.
Wow. You're not going to play that every other week type situation thing with Jameis?
Nope. I'm done.
You don't want to be a homer like I tried to convince you to be last week?
Watch this be the week they fucking win the game. And they never win in New Orleans, to the record. I don't remember the last time they won in New Orleans. Dude, I think I was a child last time they won in New Orleans.
Well, after you saying all that, you know who is going to be a homer?
You are.
That's right, baby. Give me the Eli Giants. I want a little touch of the downs.
Although Eli's not playing this game, just for the record. You know that, right?
He'll still be watching. It's still a touch.
Okay, still touching the downs. Your golden rule for years has always been the Giants get a lot of points, take the Giants. Maybe what happens.
Absolutely.
We'll see. I hope you're right, but we'll see. Okay, Tennessee Titans heading to New York to face the Jets. The Titans are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under, 45.5. The Jets are the worst team in football, and I think if we're talking 1-17, they are the leading candidate for that right now.
All right. So here's my question to you.
Okay.
What billionaire bet enough money on the Jets to bring the line down almost 2 full points? Because no football fan would ever bet on the Jets right now. Like, that line should have gone to 11, not from 9.5 to 7.
Wait, it
opened at to 11.
Wait a second, it opened at 6 though.
I got it open at 9.5 on my thing.
Okay, I see 6 here. It went to 7.5, and now
I'm looking at Bovada from earlier this afternoon, and it had it at 9.
Well, to defend your spot, every single place has that 7.5 except for 3. BetOnline has 9, and I think what's the other one here? I think
Bovada had it at 9.5 or something.
Wow. Anyway, we already know how this team is. I'm taking Tennessee to cover.
Yeah. I'm taking Tennessee to cover, and I'll take a bigger line just because I have those balls.
So you're gonna tease it up for more money?
Yes, I will.
Oh God, you did.
And my parlay, I will.
You're...
I'll do an alternate line just so I can make some money.
You are degenerate. You are a freaking degenerate. All right. Now go ahead.
I mean, I can't spell degenerate without speaking it into the phone.
Degenerate. All right.
Yeah, it's D-Gen, whatever. That's how I know how to spell it.
We call it D-Gen. That's what D-Gen's fine. All right. The Kansas City Chiefs heading to Philadelphia to face the Eagles. The Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under is 54.5. I've been telling everybody all week long, take a snapshot of the AFC West. Got to go look at it right now because you may not see this again for a long time. The Chiefs are in last place.
Oh, I think you will because Justin Herbert with the Chargers, that's going to be the best team in the West for a while. They have a legit defensive front and a legit back four. When you have both a front four and a back four to mix in with linebackers, you're solid. Kansas City neither has rushers or pass coverage. So I think people need to get used to seeing Kansas City.
Not in last place, though.
Either. Well, not last place, but they're not going to be the first place runner-up every time. I mean, You cannot expect that team to be first place right now. There is too much talent in the AFC West. But this week, yes, you got to take Kansas City.
Yeah.
You honestly should bet your mama's life on it. Like it's better than your mortgage. Just bet your mama's life.
Oh my God. I'm with you too. I got Chiefs covering 7.5 points. I think they turn the season around this week and go on a run.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next team. That's
2 losses in a row.
Yep.
Give me a break.
All right, this is probably the game of the week. 1 of 2 games of the week. Here, the Arizona Cardinals heading to LA to face the Rams. The Rams are 4.5-point favorites. The over/under is 54.5. I can see a slight letdown for the Rams here after coming up to win against Tampa and Brady. I think it's safe best the over. These two teams can score. That's clear.
No, you're right, and the safe bet is the over. But I thought like you. I thought about the 2-week slide, and so you know what I did?
We did.
I was like, shit. 2 weeks of Arizona just playing nothing that matters versus the Rams playing everything that matters. There should be a letdown game, and Arizona should win this game on the road.
And both teams are 3-0.
So if they don't win it on the road outright, I at least like Arizona plus the points.
So you're taking the over, or you're taking Arizona plus points?
No, I'm just taking Arizona plus the points.
Oh, okay.
The safe bet is what you're doing, taking the over.
You're not trying to play safe, though.
But, safe is for you. They're not for degenerates like me.
Okay, next game here, another NFC West showdown. The Seattle Seahawks heading to San Francisco to face the Niners. The Niners right now are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is 52. Seattle is in trouble. I mean, you got Russell Wilson, so you're fine. But Seattle, I mean, I trust Russell Wilson. I don't trust Pete Carroll and the rest of that team. I really don't.
You know what they remind me of?
What's that?
The Dallas Cowboys.
A little bit. I can see that.
Nothing but offense. Like, when you think of Seattle, all you think of is offense. When you think of Dallas, all you think is offense. So it'll come down to whether or not what Seattle has drafted in the last 2 years can show up. And, I mean, it's San Francisco, and I haven't seen good quarterback play this year. So I'm going to still take Seattle. I know it's stupid. The safe bet's going to be the over, which you're probably going to take.
No, I'm not. I'm taking the under.
But I'm going to take Seattle.
I'm not taking the under, actually, buddy.
Whoa, holy fuck.
I mean, I guess this could be a little bit of a slobber knocker. Not to the effect it was in 2013, 2014, but I can see this being a 24-21, kind of game,
Yeah, and I'm one of those people who are like, shit, there's a better chance of Seattle tackling Marshawn Lynch on the sideline than tackling a 49er running back in the field of play.
All right, next game here, we have the Baltimore Ravens heading to Denver to face the Broncos. The Ravens right now are 1-point favorites. The over-under, 44.5. A little bit of disrespect for the Broncos here, just a tad, even at home,
Well, I don't know if it's disrespect. Actually, I feel like it's a lot of respect. You have Teddy Bridgewater, who's at best a game manager, going against Baltimore, who's nothing but a highlight reel. So I'll still take Baltimore to cover.
I would have thought they put Denver -1.
Wow.
That's what I would have thought, just because of the records and all that. But anyway, I have the under in this game. I have the under.
What is it, 44
Yeah,
even or 44.5?
44.5.
I mean, I guess a 24-17 game will get you an under, but
Yeah, Denver
I
defense
would
is pretty
still
good.
take Baltimore on a safer bet.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Baltimore's defense show up enough. That's the problem.
Right. Alrighty. The Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Green Bay to face the Packers. The Packers are right now 7-point favorites. The over/under is 45.5. Can we talk about Big Ben real quick? I've been doing it throughout the podcast. I've been doing it throughout the podcast with Antwan and with Mike, but I'll talk about it with you real quick. Big Ben looks done. He's just like he's finished.
Well, I don't know if he's physically finished, but I think he's mentally finished. Like, I think he checked out last year at the end of the season expecting to be cut, and so he never came back this season mentally.
Right.
And you can get away with that with, like, a receiver, a running back, basically any player other than a quarterback. But when your own quarterback starts to feel like, yeah, I'm just here for a paycheck to help with payroll for the year, you knew off right then and there they were done.
Right.
And I wish I would have thought about that, because I honestly thought Pittsburgh might have a little bit left.
Well, the defense is still pretty solid.
Yeah, their defense is solid, but look, you'd be better off with Mason Rudolph right now.
Right.
I wouldn't go as far as say Dutch Hodgins from a couple years ago or Haskins right now, but I feel like Mason Rudolph could probably win you a couple more games than Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I think he's done. I think Big Ben is done, honestly. That being said, I actually am going to take the Steelers on the points here.
Oh, my God. Are you high?
Just on the points. They'll lose the game, But I think the defense will keep it relatively close.
Yeah, Green Bay will win by at least 10.
Oof. Okay. Here we go.
This is going to be a blowout, and it's going to be another call for Ben Roethlisberger.
Here we go, Zach. The game we're looking forward to watching, Sunday Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady return to Foxborough against the Patriots. Right now, the Bucs are 6.5-point favorites. The over/under is 49 points.
I'll take Tom Brady. If there's one person who cares at all about the so-called media made-up feud, it's going to be Tom Brady over Belichick. So if there's one guy who wants to show, hey, this is the exact reason why I wanted to leave. I took pay cut after pay cut after pay cut for year after year after year, and we got no offensive weapons. Well, this is what happens when I have offensive weapons. I think they beat the Patriots by like 3 touchdowns, honestly.
Wow. I'm going the other way.
I think it's going to be a demolition of Belichick.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way, man. I think the Patriots will actually be emotional with this game, too, and they keep it closer. The Bucs do win this game, yes. But I think this is going to be a competitive game. I think it's going to be a game where the crowd will be fired up. I think the Pats are going to want to try to, obviously play up for this game, and I think they will. But I think the Bucs will win ultimately, though. But I think I got the Pats on the points here.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Do you think Belichick did things right for the organization, or did he let his pride get in the way?
I think his pride got in the way.
Okay, good.
But again, you can't blame him for how he handled it because we've never seen a guy do this before.
He tried. All you have to do is go back to Jimmy when he chose Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, he chose Jimmy Garoppolo over Brady.
The thing is, though, is that last year in New England, you can argue that Belichick had a case. Brady wasn't great that year.
Well, yeah, he had nothing to work with.
But that's
to make a case
right.
When you give a quarterback no weapons.
Oh no, I agree, and I think this is where I think also there's a case to be made where maybe people thought that he was trying to sabotage.
Oh, I think Belichick was trying to sabotage because, honest to God, where was the money being spent? Like, it wasn't being spent on the offensive line. It wasn't being spent on offensive weapons. It wasn't being spent on the quarterback because the quarterback kept taking a pay cut. So who were you spending the money on defense? Because you let your defensive stars walk every time they became a free agent. Like, where the hell did all of this money go?
No, I'm with you. It's going to be an emotional game more than anything else. I'm really curious how if Brady shows his cards a little bit of emotion this week. He probably won't.
I think Gronk gets 3 touchdowns.
I think Gronk's the one that may want to go off.
Will be calling for the ball every fucking time.
Well, you heard about Gronk. Gronk was not happy there this last couple of years, and it's coming out. He's coming out now about that.
He retired. He literally retired versus playing when the man loves football. Imagine retiring from something you love all because of someone you work under.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have Boston Jack on the podcast later this week, and because he's obviously a lifelong Pats fan, but he's definitely rooting for Brady.
I sure hope you have him on Monday, because that's when it's gonna be good.
I think he's rooting for the Bucs to win this game. But we'll talk. We'll talk on the next podcast. Him not gonna be on the pod. I think tomorrow or Thursday. So, all right. And finally, last game of the week we have. 1 second. Bring this up. This is a huge game.
Vegas and the Chargers.
Yes, the Las Vegas Raiders handed the LA for the Chargers. The Chargers are 3.5 point favorites. The over/under is 52.5. The Raiders are good. I think they're good. I have not fully embraced the Raiders as a playoff team just yet, but they're good. The Chargers, however, I think are better, and I think the Chargers are for real. I do love Justin Herbert. I do think Derek Carr is the MVP right now. I will say that through 3 weeks.
Yeah, through 3 weeks with what David Carr has done, yes, I agree.
Derek Carr. Yeah, everybody keeps saying David Carr. It's Derek Carr, man. You and everybody else I talk to keep saying David Carr. What is up with you guys and David Carr?
David was his brother, man.
Yeah, he wasn't nowhere close as good as Derek Carr was.
Dude, I feel bad for his brother. His brother never got a fair chance.
Well, David Carr probably got a lot of women, though. He was a good-looking guy. Give him that.
They're both good looking.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being able to take off a helmet after 60 minutes and still have a full head of hair?
Yeah.
Drew Brees could never imagine that.
Nope. Not at all. Zach, give me the Chargers here to cover.
And I'll take the Chargers. And this is the one game, if you're looking at a 2-team parlay or a 2-team teaser, take the Chargers in the over. You know there's going to be points scored. And the Chargers have the better team. So take a better team and take a lot of points.
Okay, before we go, quickly, 1 minute. FSU minute. 0-4. Yeah.
I looked over the schedule. We're going to win one game all season.
Which game is that? Is it Clemson?
Oh, God, I wish. Clemson, Miami, Florida, that give us 4 wins.
Look.
No.
Go ahead.
We're going to beat our other FCS school. I can't remember who it is offhand. I'm not looking at the schedule. But we literally have one game now that we lost to Jacksonville State that we should be guaranteed to win. Other than that, I can't look at a single game and go, okay, yeah, we can win that game.
Yeah. If they can win one game and that game be the Miami Hurricanes, I'm happy.
Oh, yeah, if they could win one game and beat, UF, I'd be happy. If they could beat Clemson Tigers in only one game all year, I'd be happy. But none of that's going to happen. You know what's going to happen? We're going to go, 0-9 in the ACC, 0-1 against the SEC, and 1-1 against the FCS football subdivision, a.k.a. the JV.
So, that means, does that mean Norvell gets fired?
No. I'm going to stick with the same thing I said about the last coach. Our school's too cheap.
Well,
and I mean, honest to God, how can you afford to pay for 2 coaches that are fired at $5 million a year and then hire another coach for $5 to $6 million a year and go, you know what? Jimbo Fisher asking for $1 million more a year is just too much. We can't afford Jimbo Fisher for $1 million more. We're going to have to hire Willie Taggart and fire him and pay him, and then we're going to hire Mike Norville, and we're gonna fire him, but we're still going to pay him too. So we're going to pay $10 million to 2 fired coaches, and then pay $5 million more to another coach that's worthless. So we're going to pay $15 million next year to a coach, but we couldn't afford to pay $8 million to Jimbo Fisher after he won a national title. That's the Florida State reckoning. I want you to understand that.
Uh-huh.
I want you to hear that. I want you to think about that.
You get what you deserve. You get what you pay for.
Absolutely. And we're getting it. We're getting it in spades.
And I'm not the biggest Jimbo. And look, Jack, you know me. I was never the biggest Jimbo guy in the world.
Well, you know me. I hate Jameis. I still hate Jameis. I root against Jameis. I can't stand Jimbo. But you know what I do know? Jimbo was the best coach in college football when he had a piece of shit asshole at quarterback who couldn't see more than 10 yards down a football field.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I know. He took a blind Jameis Winston, won a national title, and then went to the playoffs the next year.
Yep. So there's your FSU minute. Frustrating. Again, this is new territory. 0-4. I'm not used to this. I don't want to get used to this, but this is this bad. Can basketball season come around, please? This time.
Yes, please. Florida State basketball when we'll be back to a top 10.
In a strange place now where the basketball team is leaps and bounds better than the football team now. It's go crazy. It's crazy.
And I feel like I'm the only Florida State fan that roots for Florida State football and Florida State basketball.
No, I do too. I do as well.
Yeah.
I do as well.
I'm looking forward to basketball games on 850.
Yeah, Bob Sewell. I've been a fan since the Bob Sewell days, man.
That dude is amazing.
Yeah.
On the radio.
Yeah. Anyway, Zach, that was fun as always. Good luck with your picks this week. Rubber match this week.
Good luck. You have no shot. I'm not even going to throw a game this week. So you literally have no shot.
I can't wait till Sunday. To see how these picks work out, man. Because these games are pretty intriguing. So, good job by you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
You got it, brother. Later. Again, thank you once again to Antwan Staley of Antwan Sports, the Riot Report as well, too, as well as my guys, Mike the Squid on Power Rankings, and, of course, Zach the Degenerate for our picks of the week. Like I said, we'll have the music next week and all that. We'll get even more organized as we do this new project, we want to call that. Every week, we drop this podcast every Wednesday on this feed, actually, our Speaking Podcast feed, because football is, of course, fucking awesome. It is awesome. And I'm excited about football this year, even though all my teams are trash. Even though New York Giants 0-3, Florida State Seminoles 0-4. Football is still awesome. So, see you next week.